Hello, this is Scott Bach-Hansen with Discovery Consulting. Today I'm going to talk about one of the areas of business that we focus on, which is helping businesses with their office equipment contracts. And so we provide consulting services to identify ways that we can help them save money and navigate this process. A little bit about my background is I have over 20 years of office equipment industry experience. I have held various positions in major account and strategic account roles, as well as leadership roles as a sales manager, a general manager, and a regional sales manager. Many manufacturers were represented. I've also worked with dealers and manufacturers directly. I've also have a lot of relationships with the different major leasing partners in the industry. Very strong understanding of how the lease and maintenance contracts work and how we might be able to go in and identify ways to save money. And because I have strong connections in the industry, it helps me get to the answers faster and get things done quicker. I think one of the things that's going to be important to understand is if you were to identify a staff member to do this for you, more than likely they're not going to have the depth of knowledge of understanding where to go find ways to save money, number one. But number two, and maybe more importantly, is taking them away from their core responsibility is an opportunity cost that you won't be able to get back. So if you keep them in their core responsibility and have us manage this process for you and go through this for you, it keeps them busy with their core responsibilities and focusing on the business while we go and work for you in the background. So our process is we have an initial consultation first. There's no charge to the consultation. We want to look at your contracts, your most recent billing documentation, understand all the different T's and C's of your contracts, look at the timing of the contracts and when they end. Also want to meet with the decision makers to understand what their goals are for the outcome. There's a lot of times there's more information that's not privy for everyone on staff. And so if there's information regarding, the closing of a location or riffing employees or maybe even buying a competitor, have no problem signing off on a non-disclosure agreement to make sure that that information is kept protected. So I meet with client stakeholders, and I also am willing to help train one of your employees. If you want to attach an employee to my hip, they will go through every step of this process with me. I'll teach them how to do it, so the next time you go through this, you'll have somebody in-house that already is an expert at this. And so that does end up creating more hours because we slow down the process to make sure that they understand everything. But at the end of the day, I think it's money well spent. So we'll review all the existing equipment, meeting with the stakeholders, know what their features that they want on the equipment. We want to identify appropriate vendors. When we look at different vendors for potential having a relationship with, we want to meet with them. We want to demo the equipment. We want to go through all the proposals from them, understand all the T's and C's, look at the maintenance agreements, make sure that we understand everything, go over them with the decision makers, and then once we make a selection, negotiate with the vendor of choice or multiple vendors to see what kind of savings and more savings opportunities we can have. So it doesn't end there. Once you sign off on the lease, I'm still involved all the way through the process of returning the equipment that you currently have, not only existing equipment being returned and replaced, but also the leases, if any, being taken care of as well, and the delivery of the new equipment. And then once that's done, my relationship with the client ends, and the client will begin a relationship with the vendor that they've chosen. So I'm out of the process at that point, and it's a relationship that the vendor and the client have. So the reason I got into this is a few years ago I was working for a company in Fairfax, Virginia. They were going through this process, and they had 6 copiers with 3 different vendors and 5 leases that all ended at different times. Needless to say, this was a mess. There was a lot of work to do. I was walking down the hall one day, and I was asked to step into an office, and they said, "Here's what we're thinking. We're going to replace all our equipment." And in talking to the salesperson, they can save us $200 a month, which is fantastic. We were only hoping to save $1,000. We're going to save over $2,000 per year, and we're pretty ecstatic about it. But before we signed it, we thought maybe we should ask you to get your eyes on this because of your experience. And So I looked at it and I said, I think you can do a lot better. Let me give me a week to look at this and see what I can come up with. And after that week's time, I was able to show them that we were able to do better. So they gave me some goals, and they wanted to right size the equipment for each location, just to make sure that one location didn't have more equipment than they needed, and one didn't have less than they needed. They wanted to make sure they have leasing contracts that were more manageable. They wanted to reduce their maintenance contract as well as their overall annual spend. They wanted to try to stay with the same equipment manufacturer from a learning curve perspective, and reduce the overall spend. Which, again, if they could save $1,000 per year, then they would be happy. That's what their initial thought was, and they were going to be ecstatic with $2,000. So let me show you what it looks like at the end of this process, and why I decided to get into this. Their monthly lease was $2,400 a month for the 5 different leases they had. They were roughly spending about $2,000 a month, some months more, some months less. But it was right at $2,000 a month on average. So their monthly spend was $4,400 a month, which was over $53,000 a year. So going through this process, one of the first things I did was look at the existing equipment. And one of the first things we identified was there was one copier that only had 1,500 copies on it after having it for 3 years. So this copier is well underutilized, and so one of the first things we did was we bought this copier and we shipped it to our new location. That made it a lot easier, for us to be able to send them a new system that basically did not have any copies on it. We wanted to make sure all the old leases were bought out and all the old equipment was returned as part of this package. So all the pricing you see includes everything that's written down in the bottom there. So the new lease I was able to navigate was $1,685. The new maintenance agreement monthly was averaging out to be about $1,430. I was able to reduce the black and white per page charge and the color per page charge. And then the total monthly expense was a little bit over $3,000. So this was going to save them over $1,300 per month. Now, if they just stayed with the $200 a month, there's over $1,100 of savings they would not have been able to navigate. If they just dug a little bit deeper and understood how to go find this money and go protect their business. So the annual savings was over $15,000 and $47,000 over the term of the lease. So this is just one of the things that we can do to help provide our clients an opportunity to save money. So if you're seeing this and you're thinking, wow, maybe there's an opportunity for us to help, your business, I think there is. And I think there's an opportunity for us to come and lease it with you and take a look at it, and we'll let you know whether you can or not. Obviously, we're in a different world, and so if we need to do this virtually via Zoom meeting or something, we can certainly do that as well. Other lines of business that we help, just in case there's another opportunity, there's a lot of sales and business development experience in my background, so I can help with sales training or business development, especially if you're in the AEC industry. I've spent a number of years in the architecture, engineering, construction industry, and so if you need some help with projects or need me to attend meetings for you and do things like that, I can certainly help you with that. I can train some of your people. Obviously, we just talked about the office equipment side, and we also do insurance consulting or financial planning services, both for families and for businesses. So if you're looking for maybe a different approach, one of the things that our team does on the financial side is my partners and I, we look for money that is leaving unknowingly and unnecessarily. And that's through the way that you buy things or spend things or plan for college or pay for a mortgage or do your retirement planning. And so we look for that money and be able to recoup it and then allocate it to a different area that makes more sense based on what your overall portfolio looks like. So instead of trying to find the right product that gives you a little bit more distance, in a golf analogy, I can give you a driver that you can hit the ball farther, but you might also not be able to do all the things you need to do with it and keep control of it. And so we focus more on the swing. We focus more on the mechanics and making sure that things are done the right way versus just trying to see if we can find a better product. So if any of these resonate with you, my information is right here on the screen. I'd love to have a conversation with you or anybody on your team. And other than that, thank you for your time, and I appreciate you taking the time to look at this today.